Beautiful. So some of you may remember that last year I put up a YouTube review of the year exercise. And this year, some of you, you've already mentioned it, saw that I shared a post from a lady called Catherine Jackson, who is a colleague over here, works in the resilience and wellness in the workplace kind of field. And she put this beautiful post about writing a letter and having a look through your photos and writing a letter to yourself about the people that came to mind and being grateful for them. And I thought, oh, how can we combine this? So I've taken a bit of each, my old post of review the year and Catherine's post of using your photos, and we'll see where it goes. So have your phone ready, open on your photos page, because we will be using it. And we'll be using photos from this year, obviously. We're going to review 2024. Now, if you're an avid photographer, you might find there's thousands of them. And so you might want to just trust your intuition that wherever you scroll through, if something stands out for you, you just use that. You can always go back and redo the process again in more time and look more fully later. For people who haven't got thousands and thousands of photos, then it may be a little bit easier. And if you're anything like mine come in batches. So if I've been on holiday, like there's a whole stream of that one holiday. And so, the reminder might be the holiday rather than any one of the pictures. Okay. So before we start, set yourself an intention. What would you like to get from reviewing the year? Is it to remind yourself of the highlights? Is it about what learning you've had in the year? Is it about any element of consciousness or self-awareness? Or anything else? They were just the first ones I thought of as examples. So feel into what you'd love to get out of it. And in the light of Catherine's post, it might be gratitude, might be appreciation. It might just simply be an overview. We're all so busy, the year flies by, we might have forgotten all the things that have happened this year. Has everyone got an intention to kind of work with? And then we're just going to spend a couple of minutes breathing in the beautiful way that we know brings us into coherence. So resonant frequency breathing is another term I've heard for it recently from Tom Granger. Coherence breathing, balance breathing, whatever you call it. Just start to gently breathe into an even rhythm at whatever pace is right for your system. And as you feel your system settling, consciously go with your breath. So as you breathe in, breathe right down to the pelvic floor, through the hip flexors, right down your legs to your toes. And as you breathe out, imagine that air going out way beyond you, into whatever that field you want to call it, whether it's the field or quantum, spiritual, whatever your word is. And just enjoy being that kind of channel of that breath. Deep down into your body, through to every cell. And then right out into the world as you breathe out. And maybe breathe in and out your intention. Beautiful. And it would be tempting just to spend quarter of an hour or 20 minutes on this, but we won't get the process done if we do. So knowing that you're all expert at this, I'm going to assume you're already in that beautiful coherence that is well beyond heart-based coherence. It's whole body and whole system. and its above and beyond system as well, that you're in coherence with. There's nowhere else you need to be. There's nothing you need to be doing. Just being here is just perfect for you right now. And I want you to drop your attention into your heart space, however you do that, whether it's by a physical connection, whether it's by listening within, feeling within. But get some tangible, absolute evidence of that beautiful heartbeat. Give it a little bit of love and appreciation. We take it for granted that it beats constantly for us. And drop down so you're not only attending to the heart, but you're attending with the heart. Come from the heart. And ask the heart what its symbol of this year is. And as it gets a sense of what that symbol is, how does it feel about that? What feelings emerge? And there may be more than one, and they may be quite contradictory. That's okay. And if you want to look at the photos on your phone and feel into them from the heart, with the heart, what feelings do you get just tracking back through the photos? Anything the heart wants to let you know about connection, connection to others, connection beyond self. If someone else were scrolling through your photos, what would they presuppose your values were? What have you focused on this year? What shows up as important to you? Any themes or patterns emerging as you flick backwards? And again, as you look at something where there may be deep connection or appreciation or awe, take a moment to pause and savor that, feel it, deeply feel it. If you see a smiling face, connect with that person. Let them know how much you appreciate them. If you come across someone that's no longer with us, pause and just honor them for a moment. And again, we could spend half an hour just doing this and thoroughly enjoying looking back at our memories and what mattered to us. Is there an obvious value that you know you want to carry through into next year? Something that's so important, you want to make sure that it stays and maybe even amplifies. And are there any feelings that you want more of next year? And if you wrote any down, what will you commit to do to get more of those feelings? And what symbol does the heart want to give you, let you know for 2025? And it may be different from what the symbol for 2024 was. And taking a moment to thank your heart for communicating with you, letting it know maybe that you'll come back and check in with it again on these very issues because you might have rushed it a little bit. Take your attention out to your nervous system, so whole body, right out to your skin, maybe even slightly beyond the skin, deep down right into the bones. And that whole nervous system that is around control and homeostasis and allostasis that keeps you secure and stable and safe. Is there anything that it wants to alert you to that is maybe not quite finished that you need to take with you through to 2025? And that might be something personal, or it might be related to the environment or world around you. And again, is there a symbol for that? And from what the ANS and the nervous system learned and focused on last year, what key learning does it want to remind you of? And as you scan your body, is there anything that your nervous system just wants you to go, hey, we haven't attended to this yet. Maybe it's a health issue. Maybe it's something it's let you know that you haven't really taken notice of. And let it know that you've heard that. Maybe write yourself a step of what you'll commit to do. And as your body turns to face 2025, what does your body want to focus on? What does your autonomic nervous system want you to focus on? Beautiful. And again, we can, you can come back and revisit this and make some beautiful, smarter goals around those things. But thanking your nervous system for keeping you safe, regulated. Just allow your attention to go up to those beautiful head brains. Not that I'm biased. What does your head know about 2024? And if there's any scattered thoughts or multiple thoughts running at the same time, just do a great big mindful yawn to reconnect all those brain networks. If you'd given your head permission to write the story of this year, what would the main chapters have been? And if you were writing a book, what would that image on the front of the book be for last year, this year? Again, maybe using the images, your photos. Look through again with the frame of what did I learn this year? What did I learn about, or what did I learn cognitively? What was I reminded that I knew? And what difference did it make knowing that? What did I do differently? We've got about a month left of this year. What does your head need to know to kind of close off anything that needs to be closed off and left behind? I read a beautiful post this week about letting go and how our heads so want to know and understand that often one of the biggest kind of difficulties of letting go is not knowing, not understanding. So if there's anything you want to let go of and leave in this year, what does your head need to know about that? And what can it create as the answer that's resourceful and believable so that you can leave it behind? And as you look forward to 2025, we haven't got time to plan the year, but is there a high level plan, title for the year that your head knows? And after today, maybe you want to take that and create a fuller plan from it, splitting it up into short, medium, and longer term goals. And I'd really encourage you as well to go big and wide on that. Have an element of systemic, of where is your impact beyond you and your business? What's your bigger goal that you might hold lightly, but it's still there? I'm looking at the picture to my side where I wrote Grant's vision down when I spent that week with him just before he died. And he said his vision moving forward was to build a community of co-creativity that shifts human consciousness. Now, it might be that that's not at the front of your mind when you're running your business and getting clients, but what are those bigger systemic visions that it's healthy to hold, put into your RAS? What really matters to you? And drop him back into your heart space. Just check in all of those titles and visions, that they're true to you, that they fit and align with your values, that they really do matter. And again, maybe just look through some of your photos. Where did you do that unconsciously this year? Where did you have those impacts without even really consciously trying, just because it is already set in your system? What other lives did you touch? What impacts did you have? And sometimes it's the little things, reaching out to somebody when they're having a bad day, reminding someone how capable or awesome they are. And then dropping down into your gut. And again, drop your attention to the gut, but attend from within the gut. Who have you been in 2024? And I guess it's who have you been at your best and your worst? Let's keep this real. None of us are perfect. We're all human. You try on some of the different identities by using different words. Which part of you wants to speak from gut level? Is it I, me, myself? How old is that part that wants to speak to you? Are there any parts feeling neglected, suppressed, locked away? Any shadow parts disowned? And if you were able to hold all of those as a beautiful collaborative system that is youing, who do you want to become next year? Become even more of? And what do you need to do that? Compassionately and lovingly. This is not an excuse to beat ourselves up. Whatever you do, ensure that it's got safety wrapped around it. There may be some shifts of boundaries that are needed. Maybe some of the boundaries got challenged this year, transgressed. Maybe some of them felt a bit restrictive and need to be expanded to allow you to be more than you were this year. Anything you want to stop doing, not take forward with you. Anything you want to do more of. Any new spaces you want to move into? Any spaces you want to stop being in? And if there was an image or a symbol, what would the gut say is the image or the symbol of who you've been this year? And take a real moment of celebrating who you are, with all the imperfections and all the awesomeness. And drop a little deeper into your pelvis. Who have you been in service of this year? Who would you like to be even more in service of next year? Where have you truly tapped into your full power this year? And how can you use that power for good next year, when you are in your full vitality, full potential? And as you look at your photos, where did you have pleasure and fun this year? Where can you have even more pleasure and fun next year? What needs to be nurtured moving forward? And thanking the pelvis maybe not somewhere we attend to and from very often, yet it's so vital to who we are and what we do in the world. Thanking the pelvis and taking our attention outside of us into whatever your reality is beyond you. Is it spiritual? Is it quantum? Is it field? Is it world connection? Whatever it is. And however you best access that, I know I often access it through that feeling of awe and wonder. I often do it through nature. But whatever your version of that is, be aware that that too has wisdom. And if it had a message for you for 2024, what would that message be? And that might come as a symbol or an image, metaphor, simple words. Beautiful analogy this week of it's the difference between seeing yourself as a tree or the whole forest. And the illusion that we're separate would make us see us as the tree. If you stand as the whole forest, what wisdom emerges, arises? Because in this field, time doesn't really exist. What does it want you to know about your perception of next year? And breathe that message in, take it in, accept it, embrace it, value it. Take it in at heart level. And from that heart level, breathe it around your body. And as you think back on this last half an hour or so of just reviewing the year, what are you grateful for? What do you deeply appreciate? What do you want to hold with you on a conscious level? And what message do you want to give out to the world from your heart space about your commitment to the world next year? Who are you going to be? What are you going to be? What intention? What feeling? What resonance? What vibration? What? Just pass that out consciously to the world, saying, This is me. This is me. And just take a moment to wrap this up in whatever way is right for you. And ask this collective wisdom to give you an image to leave you with. And in your own time, gently Bring yourself back into the room, into the space, into your body. Maybe just rub your arms, your legs. Come back fully and utterly conscious into this physical body. And anybody want to share? How was it? Did you get some beautiful messages? Is it something you could perceive using with clients or creating your own version of?
I thought it was a lovely exercise. I went through my photographs and I just selected whatever just came to me. And then I selected 33 and they were right up to the year. And I wrote then the words, really, a lot of them were around fun, laughter, joy, love, connection, growth, some on creativity. And I didn't overthink it. I just literally, whatever came up in my intuition. And so for 2025, I suppose the word that jumped out was health, exercise, gratitude. I wrote down, don't sweat the small stuff. And then the one I'm working on, I think what came up was courage. Mm-hmm. Courage to take action. And yeah, when you said what was I grateful for, I suppose the gift of everyday health, people, and connection. So there's a constant theme of connection, I suppose, health and joy. And yeah, I thought it was really lovely. And I suppose another word that came out strongly was trust my own intuition. Just trust and don't over analyze. Just trust where you're being led and follow that. And yeah, I thought I've put it in an album now, Suzanne. I have my review album of 2024.
Nice.
And it's just there in an album. So as soon as I look at it now, I feel I'm going to embody all those words and all that feeling sense that I got. I have it all done. It's done. Beautiful. It's in my body.
Beautiful. So curious. And as you were talking, it made me look back at my word. So before we started this, I said, what's your word for the year? And as you were talking, I went, oh, I wonder if my word's changed. And I wrote down my new word and it has changed. So what's your word now for 2024? Whatever it was before. And I think we had growth and we had challenging and we had roller coaster. I can't remember some of them. What's your word now? Mine's gone from challenging to blessed. Now, I would never have dreamed, I would have thought 2024 was a year where I would say blessed. What an enormous shift.
And I've gone from unusual change to thankful.
Beautiful.
When I saw the pictures, Miriam, so I'm with you, Miriam, on that. I haven't done the album bit, but I'm going to do that after we finish. I'll definitely do that. Thank you for that. And for 2025, my word came up as spiritual, particularly in connection with the quantum field. And that was a lot around trust.
Beautiful. So I have just read, oh, that's back to front because I've got the mirrored on it. So hopefully you can read it backwards. Systemic coaching.
Wow.
Peter Hawkins and Eve Turner. Very, very good book. I would highly recommend it. It's a Routledge book. It is very organizational focused, but absolutely transferable to any context. So if you take the principles, and what it's saying is exactly what I've been saying all the way through Embraining 2.0 and the new model that I'm creating is Embraining's lovely. but it's me. We've moved on. And this book is saying it's me in system as part of system. And how do you bring that into your coaching? And that really any self-respecting coach now should be doing this. So it was just a lovely find for me. So if you haven't read it, I'd recommend it. Systemic coaching might be my bias that it happens to be fitting with where my mind's going about coaching, but yeah, it was one that I found very, very useful. So, and as you say that about the spiritual, that's very much what it's, you know, in the past, especially ICF type funnel, you kind of weren't allowed to think of that sort of stuff, right? It was goal orientated and work orientated and very much not personal development. And what he's saying, and he was very much an advocate of that previously, he's now saying, no, we've moved on. Things have changed. And it was saying it.
Yeah, effectively, we've moved. What I'm hearing you say is we've moved from me to we.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Instead of being the tree with forest. So there's lots of different people saying it in different ways. And I think the people who are holding on to the I, mine, for me, we know they're outdated, but we also know they're not going to be successful. So yeah, our clients, how do we gently, artfully guide them? If that's been their mindset for so long, which it has, because, you know, like I grew up in the UK under Thatcher. She switched the whole country to I, as long as I'm okay. When you've had people growing up in that cultural socialization, it takes some artful guiding safely to take courage and vulnerability to open up and become we. And I guess not everyone's going to be able to do it, but we're just suitably placed to be the people to help them do that, I think.
Suzanne, can I just sort of clarify when you talk about the system?
Yeah.
Does that broaden out to the collective consciousness when
Absolutely.
you're talking system? Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely getting the book then.
Yeah,
I'll share some other stuff with you later that I'm doing. And that looks like a good fit. I actually looked at that cover recently because I saw it on my photo roll from a post you did.
Yeah, I mean, it's not into the big quantum woo-woo stuff, but it is definitely talking about it without trying to, like, this is coming from organizational, you know, so I guess it's being a little bit careful about how it goes there, but I read it definitely as if it's
okay. Well, that's what I was thinking. If that logic that's being used for that setting, for that readership, if you can expand it out, then I'll definitely be getting it then.
Yeah, and I think absolutely anyone with that frame of reference for themselves will easily, naturally expand it into there anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, anyone who knows me, my head is like, you know, it just goes 10 to the dozen. And sometimes at night times I'll have a thought. And so I now have a set of post-it notes. Thanks, Evelyn. And thank you for coming, always showing up.
And I look forward to the recording, Suzanne.
Yeah, I'll send it through.
Yeah, thank you. All the best for the festive season and for Christmas.
Yeah, I'll flick through some new dates for the new year.
Yeah, blessings to all. Bye for now.
Bye. Remind me what I was saying, Faye? Oh, so I now have a set of post-it notes by my bed for writing stuff down. And it's funny now, I'm in that frame of reference. Last night, I was reading, before I went to bed, a coaching supervision book. And in the middle of the night, I woke up and I going, there's all sorts of components of environment that we could be exploring, like economic, like political, like cultural. So I keep kind of adding, I've had anyone who did the Embraining 2.0 with me knows that I had environment within it, but even the bits of it are expanding in terms of what I would then explore with a client in order to fully understand their context within the center of it.
Well, just as having experience in doing that sort of work, in risk management, we often do what's called a pestle analysis.
Say that again. Pestle.
Pestle.
Pestle, right? Okay.
Yeah, and that's an environment analysis. I'll send this information through to you because I think it does cover it, particularly with what's happening in the world recently. P for political.
Yeah.
It's impacting people, whether they're in the US or not.
Absolutely right. Well, you look in, if anyone's been watching the New Zealand news over the past week or so, we had 40,000 people descend on our parliament, which, considering how small our whole country is, that's a big proportion of the people up in arms about a political move that's going on. So how can we not, and even when it's not in a crisis, like, you know, an election like Trump or this political change like we're having here with the Maori, it's always going to impact us. It might just not be consciously at the front of our mind. So yeah, let's think about that. And ecology, big move to be thinking about ecology. And people saying, in fact, it was my husband. He came back from a conference last week. And he said one of the things that he was sitting there kind of going, oh, yeah, yada, 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 you know, like, know all that. And it was all about refrigeration. But something like, and I might get the figures wrong, something like 20% of all energy usage in the world is refrigeration. But it's not just refrigeration in a fridge. It's on your phones. It's on computer hard drives. It's on, and all these places where you think, oh, I wouldn't ever have thought of that being refrigeration. So making ourselves more conscious on so many levels of how we do sustainability at all those levels, for us, for we, for community, for country, for globe. Yeah. So I think there's definitely this interesting shift, which, as I say, I'm really delighted I'm now tapping into some of those other people saying that, which when I was first creating it in Embraining 2.0, I hadn't really come across the literature to give me the frame to hang it on. Anyway, I interrupted. Who else would like to share? Or I mean, I was trying to do it as well while I was doing it, and I had some beautiful insights, even though I knew what the question, well, I was making the questions up, I had some bullet points, but I got some really, really lovely, surprising insights as I was doing it, even as I was talking you through. So you could argue I wasn't fully and utterly conscious in me. I was guiding you, but I still got amazing insights out of it. Anyone else? You don't have to share. Don't feel free not to. But if anybody would like to share, then the floor is yours.
Yeah, it was really lovely. I had a lot of light. And for 2025, a unique symbol. It was like an infinity symbol in a heart.
Oh, nice.
It was really nice. And I just came across in my pictures a quote from, or a saying from Hello Inner Light. Healing is not always a linear journey, nor it is bound by time. But with each step taken in self-compassion, we reclaim fragments of our essence, weaving them into a tapestry of resilience and grace.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. Is it too big an ask for you to write that in the chat? Because then we'll put it in the email.
Put it in the chat. Yes. I'll put it in the chat.
Nice quote to put on the email.
The best and the worst of 24. I've got inquisitive and scared. 2025, be bold. More movement for me next year. And the symbol was, I don't know why, but it was like a graph going up and down. So I suppose getting your heart rate up. Now I think about it as I'm saying it. Was about movement. 2024, everything was necessary. Keep open. Be like Teflon.
Oh.
And then when, you know, after you mentioned about Grant's note, what I wrote then was my enhancing the field with my being, which I rather like.
Yeah, I love that. And can you imagine if we all live from that place where we believe we could enhance the field from your own being? What
We know
absolute,
we can.
yeah, and
We know
what
we can from
absolute
entrainment,
freedom.
can't we?
Yeah, and what,
Yeah.
you know, just to be.
Yeah, and I wrote a list of things down to enjoy this year. My focus, which was more family time. A lot of my photographs are about my family and my grandkids. And I found it interesting because I said roller coaster, but as I was looking through my photos, they were predominantly of connection with family and friends. And I know there was lots of images there of screenshots that I've done through the year on Facebook or whatever, things that spoke to me, which I didn't even want to look at those. I just was looking for the family and friends connections.
Really good sign of your values, your core values, right? In terms of what's really important to you.
So what's really important to me is family time. And I've put for next year comedy, so laugh more basically, films, music and dance.
Beautiful.
Nurture my creativity was what I put. Writing, colouring, knitting, felting, pottery and my happy drum.
Nice.
So I've got quite a lot to do.
Yeah, and I guess the gist then is you know, kind of committing to it, making it happen, and taking action. I'll throw
In February we're moving to our new place. And I've got my own, first time I have my own room with all my books and my space. I can go in and shut the door and do.
Beautiful. I've been on a fairly intensive training course this last year, really, but it's been in chunks. And there was one little, you know, when sometimes someone drops a snippet in and you go, I know I knew that, but you've told me it in such a different way that it's really landed.
Yeah.
And he was talking about taking action and having to take action and making it doable and not, you know, not trying to run a marathon in the first. And he used this term I'd never heard before, which was belief chunking. And it just landed with me. And he was using the example of if you want to, you know, start walking 10 kilometers, you start by doing 5 minutes. And then when you know you can do 5 minutes, and it's like his whole point was make the first chunk so small that there is no resistance. That even your head cannot turn it into, but I can't. Because it's so small. And I thought that was genius, absolute genius. I haven't had a chance to use it with a client yet, but I know I will at some point. And we all know that stuff, right? Like nothing in that is different, but sometimes the way it's framed, it just landed with me in a different way. So yeah, if that's useful, feel free to have that as well. Guy called Ben, and I've gone blank. How come I not know his name? Oh, it'll come back to me.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to share?
Yes, I would like to share some things. It was sometimes a little bit confusing. This year I lost my mother, so in the start there was a lot of grief and thankfulness at the same time.
Yeah.
So I had to work through that. But my words started with growth and it ended with connection. And the picture of 2000, the symbol picture of 2025 is a circle of people. And it's opening every time to include someone else. Beautiful. To make it a bigger circle. Beautiful. So that's the symbol for 2025. And yeah, in times when you have to say goodbye to people, then the connection is getting more important. And maybe it's influenced by that, but I feel the same connection with clients I have and people I train. So it's not only family related.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
um, yeah, the most, let's see. Yeah, I do have some intentions for 2025, and it's around improving the resistance or the survival mode for people in times of crisis. So
Yeah.
in Holland, in Europe, it's quite difficult with politics, war, climate change.
Mhm.
So we have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And at first, we are creating trainings for people to get more resistant or
Resilience.
resilient. Yes, resilience for all these crises.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was influenced by being more prepared by yourself. So how can I survive? And during this meditation or journey, I realized that being together and making communities will increase the possibilities to survive.
Yeah. We
So
are born for connection, right? It's
yes,
why when you disconnect or exclude somebody,
yeah,
it's effectively life-threatening for your system.
yeah. So that's a shift in the things I'm going to do for 2025.
Beautiful.
Yes. So,
Beautiful. And what a difference that will make for every person you welcome into that circle.
yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, it's probably good that I waited till the end because, Astrid, I've had a similar year to you in far as big themes are concerned. I lost my mother in early May after about a 9-month sort of hospitalisation, move into aged care and medical issues and decline. So the first half of the year was probably defined as heartbreak. And now I'm opening my heart. So that was because I'm now I've just started doing dating. So it's been a real shift. Now it's time for me, after looking after my mum's everything for the last few years. She was nearly 95. Yeah, so my ANS, I had a little dog that was mucking around, so I had to address that. But my ANS was able to remind me to be in tune. That was the language. And co-creativity and community is something that's been coming up for me with some other work I'm doing, which I'll be sharing with Suzanne on another side project, which will be featuring in my theme.
Feel free to mention it. Feel free to mention it.
Yeah, so this year I've really got into human design, which until I knew my actual time of birth didn't have much meaning for me. But sorting through my mum's papers in January, I discovered what my true time of birth is. And human design and the person that I've been getting some coaching with, she's now created a coaching certification, which I just signed up for this week. And I'm going to be working in want to help particularly women find more meaning and purpose in their life and by understanding themselves better. And so I'm looking at doing a combination of MBIT and human design and then that self-exploration. So it's like, what's human design telling you? And then what does that mean for your whole system perspective, how it's interpreting that and making that unique for them. So that's where I'm heading, because I've been doing that with myself. And so that's going to be the focus of the chapter that I'm contributing to in the collaboration with Suzanne and
Beautiful.
a number of other people. So yeah, so grow and do it with some key messages. And then the end, the collective consciousness, which is interesting because I have a butterfly as part of my logo. A key theme was spread your wings. So that's a message not just for me, but for potential clients and just everyone. So
Beautiful.
that's probably a good snapshot.
Great.
I'm into human design too.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
May I ask a question then, Faye? When you're now mentioning human design, I know my own profile, but the question what came up now for me was like, would there be a difference how you express yourself or in your doing when you have a lot of open or defined centers in your gut area, heart area, and head area related, connecting ambit and branding and human design?
I believe so. I think there will be, everyone's unique. We know that,
Yeah.
unique individual. I've been mainly focusing on myself because it's something that's fairly new. It was really from about August that I've delved into it with a particular client, particular coach who is, she's simplified the language and made it more meaningful. Rahu, whatever is, I keep on mixing it up, but yeah, it's very esoteric and not everyone can really connect with it because of that. This person has used her own language. She's brought her marketing expertise into it. So it's actually, it would be ideal for coaches to actually understand, you know, what's their voice, who they should be aiming their marketing to. It's, you know, it's a totally different way of looking at your business and your approach to business, particularly if, you know, for people that are doing service to others. And so that's where I'm going to be talking about the impact that that's had on where I'm going with my business. And so that's why I'm putting that in the book, because I think there's opportunities, and I'm going to be becoming certified to be able to help other people to discover that for themselves as well. But it needs to, but it's their take. It's very much just, what does that mean for me? It's not like having a reading done for you and then you go, okay, what do I do with that? It's more meaningful information than that. And then it's like, well, what's my take on this? And having your own self-discoveries so that you get your own understanding and apply it in the way that feels right for you. But yeah, it's been really insightful. And I can see the synergies with embraining, you know, that approach to make it more meaningful and doing that interpretation, not just from the head logic interpretation, but from the whole body.
Right.
It's
Might be
fascinating.
sometime down the line, maybe you want to do a call on it. Like,
yeah.
Put across a wisdom call.
Yeah, next year. Yep, for sure.
Beautiful.
So can I ask, is that Phoebe Kunn that you're connected with, or is that there's a lady on Facebook a lot at the moment? Is it Sarah Webster or somebody?
No.
What's
Julie Ciardi. American.
That's not a name I've heard. Julie.
No. Ciardi, Ciardi.
Not heard that one.
American. She's got her Design Hub, which is the program where you do your own self-discovery, which I was part of, and I've just upgraded into the Ignite Coach School, which has just closed its doors until next year. But she's been on Facebook. She's grown her Australia New Zealand audience, so she's been doing that recently.
Fabulous. Well, I'm aware of time, and I know at the other side of the world it's now incredibly late, even later for you guys, and you want to go to bed. So thank you for coming, even though it was horribly late, and for everyone else that showed up, thank you. I will get the recording out probably on Monday, because what I'll do is create the dates for next year. So I'll put it all out together as one email. So it'll come out. And if you know anyone else that wants to join these, it's, you know, free and open. I love your analogy, Astrid, of just open the circle and make it bigger. yeah, anyone
Love
can
that.
join. So if you know anyone that wants to join, just ask them to email me and I'll put them on that email list so that they get the dates and the recordings and stuff. Have a wonderful Christmas. And
Thank you.
yeah, I
And
hope
everybody.
that 2025, whatever you've got as a kind of image today, that you spend some time reflecting on it and creating it and putting the plan together and the actions and commitment to making it happen for you. Yeah, I wish you all the very, very best.
That was lovely, Suzanne. Thank you very much.
My
Yeah,
pleasure.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
All
much.
right.
Thank you.
And
That
for
was terrific.
everybody the same.
See you
Bye,
in the new
everyone.
year or on Facebook in
Bye.
between.
Bye bye. Have a good Christmas and
Bye.
New Year. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.